Okay, so I am returning to my channel, Meet Up Speak Up. And basically, the last set I had was to tell you about how the gun laws are actually put to injustice. So I left off by stating that I would upload a video by letting you know how corrupt these laws are and what they really, want. And basically, that is people of color not to have guns. And I can basically say that from purity of heart. I went through a situation back in, and this is going back 8 years, where I was in a situation, and I'm not going to actually go through the whole situation because this, on my behalf, is a pending civil litigation. But a gun was taken out of my car, and it was locked in a locked briefcase purse, and I had a little pin lock on it, and it was disassembled in a holster. And the Magnum, and I'm kind of going to show you what it was. This is particularly, if you can see this, hold on. This is particularly the gun I had. It was bought and paid for, and I practiced it, had license for it, a CPL. I kept it locked in a briefcase, disassembled. Disassembled means I had a holster I also bought that went along with the gun, and the Magnum was put in the Magnum area. The little bullets containing holders was put in, all the bullets was put in there. The gun basically was put in the little gun area, but the gun was locked. That means even if you got into my trunk, which was locked, and a locked briefcase, to load the gun and shoot the gun, you wasn't able to do it, or you couldn't do it, because this particular gun, and I'm going to show you here, comes with, if you can see that, hold on, comes with a lock and a chamber lock. Now, this gun, like I said, I'm trying to put it up there, particularly comes with a lock and a chamber lock, and I'm going to show you the two. Now, this is the lock, which is here. Okay, so the gun wasn't locked with this big lock because it was in the holster, but it was locked with this key here. Okay, and I'm gonna show you in a few minutes how you lock the chamber. So in the declaration, or the booklet, we could say, of the firearm, it shows you how to operate and lock. Wait a minute, here we go, up here. It shows you how to actually lock the cylinder of the gun, and I'm trying to get it straight here, and it's an interlock of the gun. Okay, and this here is the key. Okay, and my chamber of my gun was actually locked. Okay, the pin was locked, the operation of the internal lock. Okay, so that was locked. I had the gun disassembled. No ammunition was in it. No Magnum was attached. Everything was laid out in my holster, okay, which was surrounded with a holster, put in a holster. The holster was wrapped up, put in like a case, a bigger case than like this one. Let me turn it upside down. Let me turn it upside down so you kind of see it. Okay, and it was a big case like this. Upon the big case like this was placed in a briefcase. And the briefcase was locked. While the briefcase was placed in the trunk of my car, and the trunk of my car was locked. So, when I got into the off the road incident, which they're lying when they call it an accident, because an accident means that I hit something, I hurt somebody, I did something to destruct something, okay? Not you rode off the road because you was trying to make sure that the car was behind you did not hit you, and I was trying to do a U-turn to get away from the person who was behind me about to hit me, and I kind of merged off into like a little center area. Okay, not hitting anything, not killing anybody, just merged off and ended up with a tire problem. Okay, which I was calling AAA for that. But back to the point. The point was, when I got to the court prosecutor, Janice Drum, claimed that I had the gun on my persons. Although I have a police report that states they received the gun and the holster out of the locked briefcase. So I was wondering here, as I'm going over this year after year, trying to get reports from them, trying to fight them, trying to challenge them on the nonsense that a judge ruled on, that how did the gun become on my persons if the gun was disassembled, placed in a holster, the chamber was locked, although the cop said that, the gun was loaded fully and the bullet was in the chamber. They couldn't have known that, because you know why? Because the gun was disassembled, which he should have acknowledged, and a bullet couldn't have been in the chamber, because at that point in time I wouldn't have been able to, let me try to lock it, and I still have the key. They never received a key from the gun. And I also have the paperwork on my gun, the instructions for my gun, and how the gun was locked, and they couldn't get in unless they disassembled the whole entire gun and then got another key, reassembled it back so they can open and close the cylinder for the gun. So at this point in time, I should have used this big lock to put between there, but I didn't want a situation whereas it's easy, because I've practiced how to load the gun and how to put the clip in, which is the Magnum, but trying to take it away, this big old lock on there, and if something happened, I practice routinely how to go into my briefcase, unlock my briefcase real quick, take my holster, unroll it, assemble the Magnum, put the bullets in, cock it, unlock it, and ready to shoot, but I didn't practice with this big lock being the lock symbol on the gun. So I just kept the lock, and locked the cylinder. But in the report of the police report, it states the gun was in a holster. It was unassembled. He said it was one in the chamber, which he lied. Wasn't one in the chamber, because I wouldn't have been able to lock it. In this instruction book, I tell you, even if it was one in the cylinder, you couldn't pull the trigger because the gun is locked. Okay, so the prosecutor came with that she had got the gun off of me, or the officer said he got the gun off of me, and I'm like, okay, I know that's not going to go through, because it's impossible for him to get the gun off of me and then also take the gun out the briefcase in a holster. It went through. The judge ruled in her favor that the gun was on my person. Like I said, the person is the body. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's a report that states that the officer took the gun out of a briefcase, which she's claiming a purse, but it was like, looked like a design of a purse, but it was a briefcase. Out of the briefcase, disassembled in a holster, but it's supposed to be on my body. So I knew that the judge was going to be in my favor of this, because it's impossible, even if you train in this situation, it's impossible for me to have it on my body, then all of a sudden I take it off my body without anyone seeing it, without any police officer seeing it, roll it back up, put it in my briefcase and lock it back up, disassemble it. It's already in my holster disassembled. Put it in my roll it back up in the holster, and then put it in my briefcase and lock the briefcase. So what I'm trying to say basically is you have some corrupt courthouses and prosecutors and judges. So at this point, I'm still fighting for this, because they took the gun holster, they didn't take the purse. But they never disposed, because they claimed it was illegal. But when I showed them all the documents, the statements, how I bought the gun, where the gun came from, the gun cost $1,000. The host cost $350. So that's $1,300 out of the taxes and everything. I dished out, I came out of pocket with $1,500 after taking my license, my CPL, training, everything that was legal. Now, here's the point. I still can't find the gun. The police department took the gun. Although they charged me with having it on, they took the gun, stating that they was going to dispose of the gun. I have checked the state of the sheriff disposable unit. And although they have my license and the registry, where I registered in 2 different counties, they do not have the gun. So I called back trying to find out where the gun is. Where's the gun? Where's the holster? Where's the gun? If you're charging me with something, you're supposed to bring the evidence in. It's supposed to be locked up somewhere. They can't find the holster or the gun. But here comes these laws. Now, you have people of your party is stating that they want to now put on create a law, the proposal to create a law to make sure that people with long histories of criminal, regardless if it's domestic, fighting, regardless of what it is, they can never get a CPL license. So I asked them, sitting in this meeting, and I said, okay, well, where's the guidelines? Where's the Pacifics, basically? So you're telling me somebody get in fight at 18 years old, get a domestic record, which is a long history, and a lot of people thinking it's just one thing after the other. No. When it says long history, it's whatever you've done in your history. Okay? If you got in trouble in something that was 20 years ago, that's a history. So this is what this law they're trying to put on the books and trying to get people to vote for it. But you got to understand and really understand and listen to the words. History is whatever you've done throughout your life. It could be at 16 years old. If you have a history that's on public records, that has a part to do with this law they're trying to put in and trying to basically fake to people. It's about the hard criminals. It's not about the hard criminals. It's about someone, if they have a history or they have a mental illness. A mental illness is dementia. I'm just letting the people know. A mental illness is a person who have dementia stage 1. And that means you are not fully forgotten everything. You're just on stage 1 where you might not know some things. And with a reminder of people working in therapy and different things like that, you remember it back. Stage one in this law they're trying to put together will also take your gun away from you. So that is any older person that's over 65, because any person that's over 65, they already have in quote on a profile that basically you don't need to drive and you don't need to handle a gun. So if anybody don't understand that, it exists. It's real. Over 65, they will look for reasons for you not to carry a gun or not to drive and many other things. At this point, I am urging the people, if a law comes about that is taking away your Second Amendment, because now, since they did this, and I've been trying to fight them and challenge them for over 8 years to get back something that don't belong to them. Something was in the law that stated that could happen, and it has nothing to do with an OWI, DWI, or anything else. You have to prove that first. They didn't prove it, they insinuated it, and then they put it in the documents and kept placing me in incarceration so I wouldn't fight them. And it's not like I have a long history. This is the first time this ever happened. The first time I ever been incarcerated was in 2012 for something that I did not do, that I've been fighting for all this time. And they didn't want to accept what really took place. And during that scene of morning, 4:30 in the morning, Monday morning, something occurred at the scene where they're trying to cover it up. They have covered it up. They ain't trying. They covered it up. But as a person that is falsely lied on, I don't kind of take that well, because if I'm going to lie on somebody, I'm not going to jeopardize their life. I'm not going to sit there and lie on somebody and jeopardize their life. That's what I meant in the words. I'm not going to put anyone's life at risk, but that's what they did to me. They put my life at risk when they did that, because certain things happened at that scene that I could be dead right now. Hyperventilation is death, just like fixation. That's what hyperventilation is. It's just like death. Now, if somebody put their hands over your mouth and hyperventilate you, that consists that you could have died. That's just like strangulation, fixation. And they didn't care. Because if I had died, it would have been racked up as, oh, she was just an OWI. Or she was just a DUI. Whatever they would have put on there. Because they changed the case so many times that you had to actually challenge. What is the case? What is the charges? So I'm letting y'all know right now, this is going to go further. And I haven't showed all the details, all the documents. But if there's a law coming up, and I'm particularly talking about the state of Michigan, I would not vote for that law. Because what they have in the documents have no guidelines. It has no specifics. It has no certifications of what a person's mental status have to be. It has no certification of how long that history would consist of. So I'm just letting the individual, old, young, middle age, everyone who carries a gun and has the right on the Second Amendment to carry a gun. So you won't get sidetracked by these laws. I do not, or did not, I can go for my gun CPL now, but I chose not to, because anytime you have a law and the law don't protect you, especially with something that dangerous. Now at this point in time, I haven't received a gun back. Don't know where it is. So now somebody can get killed. Police can plant it on my gun on them and say I did it. That's the crucial part about this. Okay. And I have submitted to the police department, where is the gun? The sheriff department, where is the gun? From today, which is Tuesday the 15th of 2020, from 2012, I've been asking, where's the gun? Now, at this point, someone has it. Police officer probably took it, redid the tags on it, redid the serial number on it, and got it for his private use. But at this time, I'm just letting people know what's really going on. Not, oh, she's mentally crazy. She's this, she's that. No, I have all the facts and all the documents to prove that I'm not. And I have all the documents to prove that it was nothing to do with an OWI. It had something to do with something that happened at the scene, but it had nothing really to do with an OWI. But in time, I will prove this, because I am a person who is basically, I do not like people who lie to get their way and destroy people's lives. And that's what they did. And I will show how they basically gave me a record. That record was so offensive that they did a double jeopardy. They actually recharged me by requesting summons me back to court to say I owed a fee of a court fee. And the court fees was paid in full because they supposed to have been on the first document holding my gun. Okay. But I end up filing a civil suit in the Oakland County Circuit Court. So the day that I supposed to have the circuit court date, which was that October the 11th of 2014, I was summoned back in court and held in contempt, stating that I didn't pay court fees, and sent to jail for 10 days, stating that I had violated these charges, which charges I never received. I never received no documents of the charges I supposed to violate it. And under the document I just found out from the Oakland County court system, or jail system, not the court system, but the jail system, is got the same charges that I was supposed to be charged with in the first place. It has no contempt of court on it. So I'm like, how did you hold me contempt of court, stating that I failed to pay court fees, or I was late? It wasn't I failed. It was I was late paying court fees. Now, since I was late paying court fees, and I have the documents saying it was paid in full, what other charges do you have? Because that's not right. And that's a lie. So he sent me to jail, and on the documents of the jail documents, it states that he sent me to jail for a second time for OWI. And I'm like, okay, well, that means the police officer had to stop me a second time. You had to find a gun in the possession of my car for a second time. You had to charge me with OWI without having any evidence. Now, remind you, they never found anything in my car, but they said they did. But the police report basically states they never found anything in my car. Excuse me. They never found any open alcohol. Definitely no open drugs. But this is what they're claiming. They're claiming they found. This is what the judge at the 43rd District Court sent over to have me locked up. That he had found drugs and alcohol bottles and alcohol containers, I guess, in my car. So I'm like, okay, so if you found that in a car, wouldn't you have some kind of evidence report of it, or some kind of documentations No, that is going on their word. Whose word? Because the police officer report has nothing in it. He did not find anything in my car. So whose word you going on? Oh, the judge. Oh. So the judge in this case basically told you to put down that I had alcohol and drugs in my car. Yes. Oh. So although he's a judge in a case that's supposed to be doing neutral decisions of a case, he actually told you that I had drugs and alcohol in my car. Yes. Although the police report says I do not. Or did not. Yep. So when you talk about the system, and you talk about a person that's, if it was a ticket of an OWI, hey, I have no problem. Let's go to court. Let's prove it. I have no problem with any case of proving something against me that you said I done wrong. Because believe me, I will also prove that you're wrong. I have no problem with challenging an attorney, a judge, a prosecutor, or anyone else when it comes to my life. So I'm basically telling y'all about this situation without showing any documentations or anything like this, because I'm trying to get a lawyer, a good lawyer, to take this case so I can sue this actual city. Because of the, and that's Hazel Park of Oakland County 43rd District Court. But at this time, I haven't been successful, but because of the simple fact everybody is connected and they know each other. They don't want to go up against the judge. They don't want to go up against 43rd. But now that I believe they under a new executive, Albert Patterson was horrible. Bless his soul. But now that it's under a new executive, I am going for the full force to try to get this court corrected. And especially the prosecutor who prosecuted under a lie. The judge who sat there and is supposed to have been a neutral judge on the behalf of a defendant and plaintiff. So I will continue, and I'm going to show you more evidence, more information on this retaliation